Welcome to Elder Safety Seminar hosted by Asian Americans Advancing Justice Southern California, AJ SoCal. What is elder abuse?
So elder abuse is under the Elder Abuse and Dependent Adult Civil Protection Act. It is the abuse of an elder or a dependent adult. And abuse can include different things. It could include physical abuse, isolation, abduction, neglect, other treatment resulting in physical harm, pain, or mental suffering, deprivation by a care custodian or goods or services necessary to avoid physical harm or mental suffering, and financial abuse. And you should note that an elder is defined differently by different California laws. Under the California Adult Protective Services, they consider anyone over 60 as an elder, but for purposes of if you want a restraining order under the California Elder Abuse and Dependent Adult Civil Protection Act, that's anyone over the age of 65. Also, the law also protects dependent adults who are abused similarly, and those are anyone that is aged 18 to 64 who has mental or physical limitations that limit their ability to carry out normal activities or protect their own rights, regardless if they're living independently or not.
What is financial abuse?
So, financial abuse is when anyone takes or keeps a vulnerable individual, like a dependent adult or an elder's property, for wrongful use or with intent to defraud them. So, this could be by close individuals or relatives or by strangers. And so some examples include, you hear a lot about scamming online for especially those attacking the vulnerable by email, saying, the common example is like, oh, I'm an African prince and I need all this money. Can you transfer all this money? So that's very common. It can be in person, door-to-door solicitation. So some people come to elderly care areas and ask for money, saying that they need it for charitable things, but really they're just taking their money and taking advantage of that elder individual. And it even can be financial advisors and investment scams. But there's also recent law that includes something called coercive debt, and that's also included as financial abuse. And that's like creating debt in an elder or dependent adult's name without their permission or through undue influence, which means manipulation, coercion, or threats. So this often is done with caregivers and with family members that are close and live with elders. And oftentimes they will put them in exorbitant amounts of debt without their knowledge, and then they're impacted negatively because of it.
What can I do to protect myself?
You can call your local Adult Protective Services Agency or APS. They in each county they have an elder abuse hotline, one in LA County and one in Orange County. And then you can call for legal assistance. You could call our hotline or helpline from AJ SoCal. We have an English line and a Chinese line, so you have those options, and we have a multitude of different Asian and Pacific Islander languages. And then you can also file and request your own request for restraining orders. So that can be an elder abuse restraining order, a domestic violence restraining order, or a civil harassment restraining order. You can call the police if you need to, and they can assist you in getting a criminal protective order, which is similar to a restraining order, but it's issued by a judge immediately in an open criminal case. You can also apply for benefits that you need. So Medi-Cal, CalWORK, Social Security, housing assistance, and other benefits. Sometimes you'll be assigned a social worker, or the elder would be assigned a social worker to assist in getting the abused individual the assistance that they need and benefits that they need to protect themselves. And you can also contact AJ SoCal for this, because our HAP unit will be able to assist in filling out this paperwork and applying for those benefits as well. And then you'll also be able to file a specific request. Sometimes in elder abuse cases, you can actually ask the court to allow contact with the elder or dependent adult to ensure their safety and welfare. Because sometimes our elders or dependent adults are isolated and we don't know what's going on, and you just have to see if they're okay. And so then you can ask the court for a specific order permitting them to visit or contact them when necessary.
Types of restraining orders.
So yes, a restraining order is a protective order. There are different kinds. Like I mentioned, there's a domestic violence one, and that's specific for if your abuser is a member of your immediate family, a spouse, or an intimate partner that's living with you, you can ask for a domestic violence restraining order. You can also ask for an elder abuse restraining order, and that's specific only for elders and dependent adults. And then you can also ask for a civil harassment restraining order, and that's if you're not an elder or you're not quite an elder, especially for those that are under 65 but still over 60 and are not related to their abuser. Sometimes this happens with landlords or neighbors. You can get a civil harassment restraining order. If there's an immediate harm, a lot of times people ask the police for assistance. So they'll ask for a criminal protective order or emergency protective order that could be issued right away and is enforced by the criminal court. All of those are protective orders, and they're the same thing as restraining orders, and they prohibit it. Those are alternate terms for each other. They prohibit certain contact. So the abuser would not be able to abuse, harass, or have any communication with the elder or dependent adult in this case. And then sometimes you can include a move out order. So this would require the abuser or restrained party to move out of the home. But that is only if the elder or abused individual is on the title of the property or on the lease of the property. And you can also ask for a stay away order, which is requiring your abuser to stay at least 100 yards away from you. It's different for each case. Sometimes that's not possible. And so then maybe they'll say 10 yards or just like a healthy amount away from each other so that their peace is not disturbed. And then you could ask for additional relief. So you could ask for the care or possession of a certain animal, or you can ask your abuser to undergo anger management classes, or doing things to stop isolation for an elder or dependent adult. So that's it really depends on each case. Um, Thankfully, the judges in Orange County and in Los Angeles have a lot of experience with all of these kinds of cases, and they're very focused on ensuring that the most vulnerable of our population are protected. And so that's why these protective orders are offered on a more expedited or faster basis, so that they get the protection they need as soon as possible.
Examples of elder abuse.
Sometimes it's kind of hard to imagine because these, especially in our Asian communities, we want our elders, our most important people in our lives, and so then it's hard to imagine these kind of situations, but they happen on a daily basis. So one example I like to give is like when an adult child of an elder lives with the elder and takes their SSI money to spend on alcohol or drugs without their knowledge, and then leaves them with nothing to support themselves. That's an example of financial abuse or isolation that could warrant a restraining order or any certain assistance. Or when a caretaker, sometimes like home health, things like that, they fail to provide an elder with the medicine or the basic care they need. And so then an investigation needs to be done, social workers need to be involved, or they are taken away from the caregiver. So then they're able to receive the treatment that they need to survive. Or when a relative blocks an elder from any contact with other relatives and friends and vice versa. And so then they're in an isolated situation. You don't know about their well-being, if they're getting the care they need, if they're getting taken advantage financially. So that's another example. But This also can be in the form of financial scams, like we mentioned before. So taking advantage of an elder or a dependent adult and convincing them when they're unable to make decisions for themselves to give them the power of attorney, which means they have the ability to make decisions of their estate or control over their estate, and withdrawing or transferring really large amounts of money. That happens often too. So these are just some examples. It happens more often than you think, and unfortunately, a lot of times our elders are in very vulnerable situations. So it's important that we take care of them because they took care of us before, and so this is why it's such a high priority for us as the Asian American community.
If you need legal help with family law matters such as domestic violence or elder abuse, please call AJ SoCal helplines. We also offer free legal help on housing rights, immigration, citizenship, anti-Asian discrimination, and health access. Our helplines are available in 8 languages, including English, Mandarin, Cantonese, Korean, Khmer, Tagalog, Hindi, Thai, and Vietnamese. You can also submit your inquiry online by scanning the help form QR code on the screen. Thank you for watching.